Corbyn's shadow chancellor and oldest friend in politics, would go to Bloomberg and deliver a speech to calm the markets. He would then broker a confidence and supply agreement with the Scottish National Party. The question of a second Scottish referendum would be deferred to the next election. Diane Abbott, another intimate, would be promoted to Foreign Secretary and declare a new role for Britain in the world, every bit as ambitious as Boris Johnson's plan to cut loose from Brussels. As 10 p.m. and the exit poll drew closer, Corbyn's disciples filed into the party. With half an hour to go, the leader, his family and his close team were shown to a side room with a window looking out into the main area. His wife, Laura, did not leave his side. His 3 boys were joined by Milne and Helen Reardon-Bond, Corbyn's chief of staff. Andrew Fisher, his director of policy, followed, as did Anjula Singh, Labour's head of press. This was Corbyn's inner sanctum. Those who he wanted by his side on the night. One aide pulled the blinds closed. This would be their result to savour alone, if only for a few moments. The crowd gathered around the 2 televisions rigged up in each room. The chimes of Big Ben rang out from Sky News and the BBC. Every public and private poll indicated that Corbyn was heading for a historic defeat. But the convention and candour that had defined previous campaigns was absent. In 2015, Labour staff had been told at the outset that their mission was to deny David Cameron a majority, not to win. At the outset of the 2019 campaign, Corbyn's inner circle had aimed to win. 3 months previously, Milne had written to colleagues, "Our objective must be to win a majority, and that must underlie everything we do in the campaign." Nor were they in the business of candour when the polls had refused to budge, given the need to maintain morale, and the seditious officials at Party HQ who simply never went away. At the outset of the campaign, Corbyn himself had responded to the leak of the party's grid, the spreadsheet outlining the timing and responsibility of policy announcements, by emailing colleagues to say that it is disgusting the degree of self-absorbed disloyalty that some person or persons have. Our members do not sweat night and day to see their party damaged by this behaviour. Polling would be circulated among only a handful of people. So it was that in 2019, in spite of all the evidence, many in the room and many of those members believed they would win, or, at worst, emerge as contenders in a hung parliament. As the BBC revealed that Boris Johnson was on course for a majority of 80 seats, and that Corbyn was set to lead Labour to just 191, the room fell silent. Those in Corbyn's antechamber were dumbstruck too. The party atmosphere turned funereal. Corbyn roamed a room overcome by silence. "I'm sorry," he said in turn to shell-shocked groups. "This is on me." His wife wept. Francis Leach, Corbyn's millennial head of events, cried as though someone had died. For several generations of the left, something had. It was immediately clear from the scale of the defeat that Corbyn was beyond saving. The job now was to save Corbynism. Milne immediately dispatched a pre-written briefing note for allies and shadow ministers. This defeat is overwhelmingly down to one issue: the divisions in the country over Brexit, and the Tory campaign, echoed by most of the media, to persuade people that only Boris Johnson can get Brexit done. Labour will have to learn lessons from this defeat, above all by listening to those lifelong Labour voters who we lost in working-class communities. For Corbyn, a long night was only just beginning. There would be no escaping the media at his constituency count. Corbyn and his wife sat side by side as Milne and Fisher fine-tuned the speech that he would deliver. At 2:20 a.m., having watched dozens of Labour MPs lose their seats, Corbyn, his son Ben at his side, made the short journey to a nearby leisure centre. In 2017, he had been a picture of unconfined joy at his count, joshing with cameramen and activists as he basked in his own glory. Now he walked alone. Just after 3 a.m., Corbyn took to the stage. Joseph David, the Orthodox Jewish candidate of the Brexit Party, grinned over his shoulder. As they endured a long wait for the results, the odd couple had enjoyed an amiable conversation. Corbyn had even impersonated Johnson to David's delight. In his concession, Corbyn said he would not lead Labour into another election, but did not resign. He had told aides he believed